felt like showing you guys this crystal of mine, just random. Okay, let's talk about moon sextile to Pluto in Synastry because I've noticed that I've done all the moon Pluto aspects except the sextile, and the in conjunct actually is on my list in Synastry. So let's talk about the lovely sextile between Pluto and moon in Synastry, because the interesting thing about this is that you actually notice the sextile a little bit more than the trine, but at the same time, you have to kind of work for it to get its benefits. So, the moon person is going to feel very attracted to the Pluto person, but they're attracted to them because they sense that they have gone through their own form of darkness or transformation that is very like admirable to the moon person. The moon person feels like the Pluto person is very interesting or very wise, or someone who can actually help them heal. Okay, and the Pluto person feels like the moon person is like this safe space or like this comfortable energy. They feel this attraction to them back, and they feel like the moon person really sees them for what they've gone through and respects them for it. So in this case, the Pluto person feels free to like open up about maybe some of their darkness, or if this is a sexual relationship or a romantic relationship, some of their desires. They get the sense that the moon person is going to be open to some of their deeper desires. So you wouldn't necessarily say that the moon is like a sexual planet, but the moon is like our aura. It's such a big part of our energy field because it's our emotional reactions. It's, related to our upbringing. And so the Pluto person senses from the moon person's aura that like they may be open to their energy in a sort of deep or intimate way. And even with the trine or sextile, there's a little bit of like a taboo energy of moon Pluto, because we get this sense that this is not the usual type of relationship. This is something deeper. This is something with the potential to transform us. Now, this sextile isn't going to be enough to bring people together and be like wildly attracted and have this compatibility or whatever. But if we have other things going on that show more compatibility or more, even hard aspects you might need to like bring that attraction, this can show that emotionally you can go through transformations together that are really gonna be like a saving grace for you in your relationship. So the sextile can show that there's an excitement as far as learning about each other. Learning, the Pluto person wants to know what makes the moon person tick and how they've grown up and what their childhood was like. And the moon person wants to know what it is that's made the Pluto person so resilient and so like, the phoenix. And so this aspect can really go a long way to allowing the people to transform together and become a better, more emotionally grounded and effective version of themselves. And it does create quite a buzz. It does create quite an attraction. So I feel like Pluto aspects in sextile and in trine, but the sextile is, we're a little bit more different, that there's actually a bit more of a buzz and attraction, and Pluto wants to explore that. Pluto wants to work that out. And, Pluto's able to open up things in a more healthy way than when we're seeing the harder aspects that can make Pluto kind of react more toxically, right? It's like whatever toxicity that is in the Pluto person, it's like with this sextile, they're able to not react in such a way that's so triggering for them or the other. It's like you're able to harmonize some of that compulsiveness or some of that, crazy obsessive plutonic energy and act more in integrity, or more like this doesn't create that craziness, right? That crazy Pluto obsession. It's a more gentle, more easy flowing version of Moon Pluto. So it's really nice to see. It's especially nice to see too if we have like a double whammy Moon Pluto aspect going on, and we've got, one of the harsher aspects like the conjunction, square, or opposition, and then we have this on the other side of the double whammy. It shows that, like, okay, on the one hand, we can kind of blend all right with this energy. It can really help out a lot to have the trine or sextile on the other side of a double whammy aspect. But yeah, it definitely gives that potential for a deep relationship, a deep intimacy. You can see them wanting to share deeper parts of themselves and wanting to emotionally connect. So even if this is like a non-romantic relationship, like if this is a friendship or a business relationship, there's still this level of emotional sharing that is unusual for a more platonic relationship. It would be an excellent aspect to have with your therapist or healer, coach, astrologer, counselor, because of that level of emotional safety and intimacy that can happen. It's not so strong as the trine, where we have that, like I talked about in the trine video, the nervous system regulation. It's like a calming effect. It's a little bit more active. It could still potentially be a little bit triggering if we're uncomfortable with the Moon Pluto energy, because yeah, there's a bit more of like a buzz here, more interest, more, you're gonna notice it almost a little bit more that this is plutonic, but you also have to work a little bit harder to get that calmness out of it, or get that like intimacy there. It's not so natural like the trine. It is like we notice each other, we see the potential for that, and we have a choice because it's less unconscious. We have a choice, like, okay, are we gonna go deep? Are we gonna let it out? Are we gonna like be our true self? So you can see the Pluto person kind of checking out the Moon person and being like, am I gonna share this? Am I gonna share that? And then, once they do end up emotionally sharing, it's like the fireworks go off and we have this very deep, beautiful, soul healing bond with the Moon sextile Pluto in Synastry. Another thing about it, that I've noticed, so like I'm the Pluto and Scorpio generation. My Pluto is at 29 degrees of Scorpio. So very much at the tail end. So if you have this, because I'm assuming some of you are also Pluto and Scorpio, so when you're having someone's Earth Moon sextile to your Pluto and Scorpio, this is also a very grounding effect on your Pluto. It's like you're able to see these deep emotional things or these sexual things with Pluto and Scorpio, and be able to like make concrete sense of it. Or even like the Moon person can end up helping you like in a business sense, or like in a more practical sense. So that's what you could see if it's like an Earth Water sextile, right? That the Pluto person's compulsiveness or their sexual energy or their like obsessiveness is able to be like grounded into an actual avenue, like so that's kind of interesting. And then of course, if you're, who would be before Pluto and Libra, you'd have an air fire sextile, so you'd have that with like the people with Moon and air, or sorry, no, air would be trine, fire would be the sextile. So yeah, like you want to look at the element to see how the energy is flowing and what the energy exchange actually is, because that's important. That's showing the flow, right? So whenever you're studying these aspects, you can look at the elements that these aspects are taking place in, and that's the energy that's getting activated here, right? So anyways, just a random side note. I'd love to know what your experience was with this aspect. Was it like this? Was it not like this? Let me know in the comments, you guys, and thank you so much for watching. We'll talk soon.